and welcome back to Behind the Joystick. Today we're talking with Crunk, a powerhouse in the esports space who's capturing one of the most memorable moments behind the lens. Whether it's from HCS to DreamHack, she's everywhere telling stories through her photos and her media work. Beyond that, Crunk is an advocate in the women in gaming, working with organizations like 1000 Dreams Fund, the gameHERs, and Women in Halo, helping highlight voices and talent that deserves to be seen. We talk about her journey in photography in the esports space, her passion for storytelling and media, and what it's like in a career in an evolving industry. You won't want to miss this episode, so enjoy.
Well, I mean, I've been gaming for practically my entire life. I'm old, so we got our Nintendo whenever I was 6. I think that it was like 1987, 88, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm the older crowd. I mean, I'm not that old, but I'm in my 40s.
Old.
I'm in my early 40s. I'm 43.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
Surprise.
35-ish.
Oh my God, I love you. But so like I've always been gaming, and it was always, one of those things where, especially as like a female gamer, like you're always looked at like, why are you playing video games? You're a girl. You should be playing with Barbie dolls or playing with trolls or being a cheerleader and all this other stuff. That wasn't me. No, it was nothing that I ever did. So I was always in the gaming space. And so how I'm in this world now was because I did my master's degree with Full Sail University. I did new media journalism. And in the beginning of the program, they're like, okay, so you need to pick a beat. This is what you're going to be covering for the next year. This is what we expect all of your, your reports, your articles, your projects, everything. Like, this is going to be based around all of this.
Right.
So my original thought did come to this, but I also was between a couple of different things.
Okay.
And I had put some ideas past some of my girlfriends back in Pittsburgh, where I'm from, and I said, I'm thinking between this and that, and gaming wasn't even a part of it. And one of my best friends was like, well, why don't you do esports?
Yeah.
And I said, I was originally thinking about that, but I'm so afraid of esports winter happening.
Okay.
And
what is that?
That's basically that time period of like there's nothing going on.
Okay.
So it's like it's that time where like everybody's, the season's over, they're just kind of relaxing, they might be doing trades and things like that. And I was just kind of like, what content am I going to have during that esports winter?
Right.
To be able to do anything for school? And I said that, and she was like, well, why don't you do esports in the schools?
Okay.
And I was like, you're a genius.
Right.
So that's how it started. Was I was trying to essentially like give more information about how esports in the schools was becoming more of a prominent thing, between esports as a whole, like almost becoming like a sport. I know that there's some places that it's still not recognized as just a club.
Yeah.
There's other places, like I think that it was New Jersey that I just saw, that now it's like actually a recognized sporting event.
Okay.
In the high schools. So the progress and how it's being made as far as that goes. But then also like gaming, Minecraft. All the schools are using Minecraft in their STEM programs and teaching kids how to code. Roblox, same thing. So, kind of going over like how that works. But there was a lot of people in my particular class that were like, our kids play games like Minecraft and they try to talk to us all the time about it, and we don't understand a single thing that it is that they're talking about. So we love that you're doing this because it's giving us more information so that we can talk to our kids.
Right.
And so I started to kind of go with that angle. And then I came to my first DreamHack, and that's really when everything kind of exploded.
Okay.
It was the first time that I had really been to any sort of live esports event.
Okay.
And it was a completely different world that I had like walked into, and I was like, why am I just now getting the chance to do this?
What was the first experience like?
It was overwhelming.
Okay.
Is probably the best way to put it, but in a good way, because it was like, these are literally my people.
Right.
Like I've been watching esports for years. Like I love fighting games. I love, playing the first person shooter games. So I was always watching it. I helped run an amateur esports team on the creator side, but still like helped running it, and I was getting into that space, but I never had the chance to see anything live. And a lot of that I think had to do with living in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Those opportunities really weren't coming through there. And so when we moved to Dallas, I didn't realize how much opportunity was actually there until I got the DreamHack.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like all of this is happening in my backyard. I should, I picked the right thing. Like, this is absolutely what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And so it kind of expanded into just like kind of covering esports in general, but more of like on the niche side. So like not really diving into League of Legends and Counter-Strike and things like that. I was, you know, going to fighting game events, going to Halo events, you know, just trying to cover more of the stuff that people don't necessarily think of whenever they think of esports, because they just look at it as a video game. And then when they said, you know, you need to come up with your capstone project, I was kind of racking my brain on what I wanted to do, and there was another project coming up, and I was trying to find, you know, a live event to go to, and I had stumbled across, at the time, the female complexity Valorant team.
Okay.
And well, is it all female?
Is that in
margin?
Dallas?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
So the complexity is in Dallas. Technically Frisco, but Dallas. And they had, it was a women and marginalized team, but they were competing with, you know, the men's teams and whatnot, and that they were actually going to be at an event in Pittsburgh. And I took that opportunity to actually go back so that I could go to this event. And while I was looking at their tweets, I went, that's my capstone project, Women in Gaming.
Yeah.
And I made that my focus for almost the rest of my, not even just the capstone project, but like the rest of my beat and my time in my master's was studying women in esports and how we can push the narrative forward.
Right, but you're still continuing that after.
Yeah, and I've kept on, you know, with that, like joining different groups. There's the 1,000 Dreams, you know, fund, trying to, you know, do things with, or, you know, get more research and try to do things and apply with them.
And apply.
The gameHERs is an amazing group. Esports and Coffee has been an amazing group, and more there's, and Women of Halo is one of the groups that I, you know, more recently joined with in the last year, and more we're seeing those groups, you know, pop up and seeing more women get involved in this space. Yeah. So that's kind of my journey.
Right, and I mean, this is like a huge opportunity too, because it's like you found these stepping stones. Like even today you were discussing the first woman competing and winning in Halo, and she had to jump to something else. Like she's just hitting those milestones. And
she had competed in, so her name is Command Station. She's competed in free-for-all tournaments especially, but even like just the, like putting your own group together, like, you know, open, they're called open competitions, and that with like, you know, like the 4v4s and the 2v2s, you know, so, you know, trying her luck in the different spaces, and the free-for-all has been kind of like her best one that she's been doing, and she's always placed very high and has been to, you know, the finals a few times, been a semi-finalist a few times, but she never hit that peak. Okay. And today we got to witness that peak, and she won, and we were all standing there, and the way that the tables are set up, so like the tables are in the middle, and you kind of have like, you know, like the observer on both sides. Yeah. There was nothing but men just filled on the other side where she wasn't. And so I was, because, you know, I'm there taking pictures and whatnot, that I was sitting on this backside kind of watching her from the side, and then there was a few people that were also watching her, and it was just silence. Yeah. When she won, except for us just cheering her on, and it didn't matter like whether we were good at the game or not. It was witnessing that first time that a female has won a free-for-all event on LAN, which is in person. Yeah. This wasn't an online event. Nobody, I know. Ugh. It wasn't, nobody could say, oh, you won because we're online. Yeah. You did something because we're online. She went in there and she played her game, and she ran it. I think that she won, I would have to go back and check the score, but I think that it was at least by 4 or 5 points. And she was in the lead basically the entire time too, with a table full of men. And so we're seeing that more and more. Yeah. And it's exciting to be on that front. Oh, and absolutely. That's it, like coming to these events and seeing that is just, it's incredible. And I'm so glad that I've had the opportunity to do these. Exactly, especially now from jumping from journalism that you were doing in school to now pretty much media and photography that you're doing. How did you
really like hone in and push yourself? Was it DreamHack that started it all in the beginning?
Yeah. So it really being able to go around and like take pictures and like, take video and do like, putting together like this media based around this world is really kind of like re-sparked my interest. So I was doing like my own freelancing photography, if you will, years ago. And I always loved doing it, but I just never like kind of like re-sparked that Kindle. And coming to events like these is really like it just kind of drove me. I was like, wow, like you can actually do this well in this kind of space, because like if you think about gaming events like this, it's very dark and very dim, and you really have to like really kind of know your craft in order to get these good pictures. And there's a lot of amazing esports photographers in this space, and esports, like, just media people in this space, and I want to push myself to be one of them.
Yeah. Quick little break before we keep going. This episode of Behind the Joystick is sponsored by Zenny Optical. If you're like me and you spend hours staring at a screen, whether it's gaming, editing, or just binge watching streams, you need a good pair of blue light glasses. Zenny has a ton of affordable styles that actually look good and help keep your eyes from feeling like fire after a long day. And the best part is you can get 10% off using my code at checkout. That's Courtney10. Again, that is COURTY 10. So go treat your eyes and your style to something new at zenny.com. All right, back to the episode. Well, I mean, honestly, like if you think about it, the gameHERs, they hosted their award show and stuff, and even being nominated, like that was a huge win.
Yeah.
Even being a part of that space, and like congratulations on even being nominated. Like
Thank you.
That's a win, and I feel like that is like more of a motivational push, especially looking up to people too in the space, especially like women in the photography or even femme identifying women in the space. Like the outlet and the resources here are here, but it's such a small connection.
Yes.
But it's good that it's a small connection because I feel like we're able to know the top 5 people in the space who are actually like working with the guys, and they're like, oh, I vouch for this person. I vouch for you, and I vouch for this.
And that's one of the things that I have liked, especially with the Halo community, which is the most bizarre thing for me to think about, because I didn't have an Xbox. I never played Halo. It wasn't even on my radar. I actually tried it with one of my friends in college because, again, I'm old. It came out when I was like a sophomore or junior in college, that I had tried it, and it was just not my thing. I couldn't get used to how the controls were working. I played it again a little bit whenever it came out, and then I pushed it to the side. There was other games that I wanted to play, and whenever one of the events that I went to during my graduate was the HCS in Fort Worth.
Okay.
And so that was the first time that it was just one game. Like I had seen it at the DreamHack whenever I was here, but it was that one focus. And the community has been just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And as I'm meeting more people through the community, there was people that wanted to have pictures done over the weekend, that photographers that are known in this space were tagging me because they may not have been able to do it, but they were entrusting me,
awesome.
in doing it. Yeah. And so and other people coming up to me and saying like, hey, we do like the pictures that you take. Can you take pictures of us while we're here this weekend? So it's been great knowing that there's people that are noticing me.
Yeah, especially like when you and we've been standing in the expo hall, and people go, hey, you do this, I know you, blah, 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 and you're like, oh my God, hey, and it's like some people in the space, they're like, oh yeah, I recognize you, and they're like, I have no idea who this person is, but it's like, yeah, no, I actually like, I know their dog, and I know their kids, and I know what they did yesterday, and oh, we're gonna eat dinner with this person. And it's like you come in with open arms into the space, and not a lot of people really do that. Especially, like, no offense to guys, but like there's a few guys that are like, this is what I'm doing. These are the people I actually want to talk to.
Right.
And like that's my limit. There's some women in the space like that too, but you can actually sniff those out.
Right. Right.
And I feel like for you that is not even a cause. Like I feel like someone can go off and either Discord you or Twitter, if Twitter ever works. They can go off and they can go, hey, I have a question about media, or I have a question about this. what I want to ask though is people that are wanting to get in the space. The audience is around high school, college age, and they kind of want to break into esports media or even media in general. What advice would you give them? Kind of, giving them a little roadmap.
Yeah. So the first thing would be is to really pick the media that you want to focus on. So there's a lot of things out there. You can do photography, you can do videography, you can do editing, you can do writing, you can do podcasting. There's a lot of different ways that you can be in media. It doesn't media isn't just video and photography anymore.
For sure.
So it's first finding that thing that you just enjoy and hone in on that. So in my case, while I like to do video, I love photography more. So my focus became, instead of trying to do both, I'm going to focus solely on that photography. And then from there, it's really also kind of studying the games that you want to be involved in and how can you make art out of that.
Right.
So in my case, I take a lot more pictures of FPS stuff, but then also going to the fighting game events. So I've learned doing things when they're given the fist bumps, when the game's about to start or about to end, try to capture that moment. Or when that game is about to end, you're ready and you have your finger on that trigger ready to go, so that the moment that they stand up and that they pop off, you're just snapping those pictures away, getting that exciting moment.
Right.
So it's really, knowing the game that you're going to be in and knowing the space that you're going to be in so that you can capture those moments. Even if it's just fans, sitting in the crowd, when they're going to get excited. So it's a lot of waiting in those type of cases. But you wait for that awesome moment and you just shoot. And you go back later and you find that shot and you're like, oh, wow, that's an amazing shot. You know what I mean? I did that. And so it's really, coming down to find your niche, find your game, or your if it's FPS, if it's fighting games, if it's mobile games, find that community and that game and that space that you can really focus in on and make that your craft. So if you want to do podcasting or you want to do audio visual kind of reporting, what game do you enjoy the most that that you can sound smart,
right?
Essentially talking about it and make that your craft, make that your art. So it really does come down to find that niche first and then do the research and make sure that you know what it is that you're getting into.
Yeah.
And then a lot of it just comes down to practice like anything else. Get out there and just, if you want to be a photographer, get out there and learn your camera, learn how everything works, and then just start shooting.
Right.
That you can't be like, oh, I didn't get that perfect, shot kind of thing. I can't even tell you how many times I've gone home in tears because I know that I just did not get the pictures that I wanted to, but I refocus.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's what I did wrong. I'm going to fix that this time. So it's a learning experience, but the first thing is finding that niche and making that your absolute focus. Mm-hmm. And then it gets easier from there, because when you do what you know, it's easy to learn.
For sure, yeah, especially if you keep continuing to do it and whatnot. I know my biggest, weakest point is that I want to learn everything and do everything at one time, but then I fumble because I've now had this backlog of things that I have to do, and then I go, you know what, we're scratching it, we're going to go do something else. But then I fail and I buff on the project that I'm actually working on. Yeah. So niche down. Niche down.
Yeah, always just focus on that one thing that you're going to be successful at. And you know what? If you choose that thing and it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Move on to the next thing. Maybe you're not great at photography, but you notice that you are good at just talking to people. Do a podcast.
Yeah.
Do some reporting, do some writing. Find what it is that you're good at, and then wrap that into the esports and gaming universe.
For sure. What kind of advice would you give your younger self going into this?
Start earlier.
Start earlier.
I regret, so I did radio for 10 years.
Okay.
I regret every moment of leaving, because I feel like I really could have made an absolute career out of it. At the time, it was just part-time. Part-time doesn't pay the bills.
For sure.
You have to move on to what it is that you want to do, and I sat too long on going back to getting, my further degree, to getting more training. And because there was such a time gap, technology has changed so much that I just knew that I was going to need to go back to school in order to do it. I wish I would have done that earlier, but also like I wish I would have just kind of practiced more.
Yeah.
Like I feel that sometimes I can be okay at video games, and if I would have started earlier, like and so
but
starting
like
earlier
really,
is the theme,
right? But
like,
it's like how early could you have gotten to? I mean, Halo was out when you were in college.
Yeah,
so.
and a lot of these kids that are playing now, they're starting when they're in middle school.
Yeah,
and they're moving their way up from there. So it is, it's kind of hard to look back at it and go, man, what could have happened if I had the access to those type of games whenever I was younger.
Especially you were in Pittsburgh too, and you like had no kind of connection, no type of space in that area too. So
starting earlier would have been the best advice, but also to like not give up on that dream of pushing yourself into the next thing.
For sure. What would you say is like the up and coming for you? Like,
so
you've got this pot of water boiling.
I know.
Something's cooking.
I want to try to get to more events. The hardest thing is time and money.
Yeah.
I work a full-time job that I can't always get the time off for. There's other events coming up that I would love to be at, but I don't have the time to take off. They're in different states. So, having the money to fly, to those states in order to be at places. So that's like, I would love to do more. I'm hoping that there's going to be a few more events that are going to come back through Texas.
Well, there's like, 3 or more coming up in the coming months.
I know that there's going to be a Counter-Strike thing coming up, and I know that there's like some other things, like not like kind of sort of in the gaming space, but it's not like gaming, that's actually happening. But I need to really kind of hone in and figure out like what else is coming through. Like last year, I got to go to the Fortnite and Rocket League World Championships, and that was a lot of fun. Would love to do that again. I have to research whether or not they're coming back through because I don't think that they are. I'll have to look again, but I think that they were somewhere else this year. Whenever I just kind of remembering back to announcements that were happening last year. So would love to get to more events. The main thing is going to be I'm crossing my fingers of a radio gig maybe coming up.
Maybe.
I had a great conversation yesterday with somebody in the radio industry. They're going to be putting out some jobs. I'm really kind of hoping that one of them is going to work out because it's going to be not just like getting on the air and just doing news reporting. One of them is essentially what I went to school for, which was for multimedia journalism, but then having the radio experience already on top of that. So being able to, be on the air, cut audio, do the, any sort of visual that would be needed, because sometimes it does happen, in radio. But then, being able to write. He was like, we need people that are able to write. So it may not be in the gaming space, but it's still getting me back into what it was that I loved doing at the time.
I feel like it's like a core foundation, that you'll be able to work on and kind of like give it a refresher on. And even though now you have like the esports background, you can kind of merge those together and go, look what I did coming back into radio.
Right, exactly. And I mean, I really, again, going to these events is just so much fun, and I'm really hoping that especially this weekend has been like so kind of in a way lucrative, for me, especially within the Halo space, that I'm hoping that maybe things will, maybe work out one day, with an organization or, to be able to go to more of these type of events to, just to be a photographer.
For sure.
So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. That's such a win for you. I'm hoping good vibes, and something's going to stick. Something, the boil a pot, it's ready to dump the macaroni in, and you just cook it up.
I'm crossing my fingers. I'm crossing my fingers because if I had to make the choice of the two things, like I would love to do radio, I would love to do this. If I was offered both things, I would love to do this.
Yeah.
In the full time, instead. But I mean, obviously, I'm not going to tell radio no. But
no,
if I was given the option, like at the same time, I'm going to go the esports route because it's just so much fun.
It is. It is, and you get to meet different people every single day. I feel like with radio, it's the room, the studio that you're in, and you maybe get to listen to people and new people whenever they do the phone call things. But like that's it. You don't see their face. You're actually
Right.
like touching and like hugging people and shaking people's hands. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, like I actually know this person. Like, that's
Yeah.
cool. It's awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking with
Thanks
me.
for having me on.
And thanks for letting me like, you know, pick your brain in the
Yeah.
background and whatnot. Where can people find you if they want to reach out?
Yeah, so I'm basically on all of the social medias as Crunk NWJ. It's CRUN as in Nancy K and then N as in Nancy WJ. I do have 2 side Twitters for more of like my businessy kind of thing. It's _spawn room. Those
Okay.
are on both Twitter, X, and Instagram. That I'll sometimes put up like, you know, my articles and pictures and stuff like that there, but most of it is going to be through the Crunk NWJ platform.
That's
So,
awesome. Very cool.
all
Thank
the
you
things,
guys.
all the things.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next Friday.
Sweet. Bye.